you could have the best book in the world, but if you're not good at marketing, no one's going to find it. No one's going to see it. So having that marketing strategy, I think is really important as well.
Mhm. Hey everyone, it's Jen Foster here with the Elite Publishing Podcast. We're really excited today to have a two-time author, actually, best-selling author. His book is actually bestseller right now on Amazon. So I'm really excited to dive into how his marketing strategies and how he wrote his book. Mark Podolsky's here with the Land Geek. So welcome.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Tell us, Mark, a little bit of why you wanted to write a book and when you first thought, I'm going to write a book.
So I just remember thinking that I love to read books. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm not a great writer, but I have this knowledge and I have this expertise and I've been doing this a long time. And wouldn't it be cool if I was the one that wrote the book on it? So I went on to Fiverr at that time and I looked for a ghostwriter to help me. And I found one. And the guy was great. And then I had somebody in my community who was another land investor to actually help him as well. And also was a writer. So I had two ghostwriters essentially.
Mhm.
And so I would meet with them both and just talk to them about the business, about the model, about my story. And so I just kind of talked the book and then they formed it, they wrote it. It really saved me a ton of time so I could focus on what I do best, which is buying and selling raw land and teaching it and building my business instead of, sitting in front of a computer and being in my head about writing. And so for me, it was really an excellent sort of smart cut to get that book out into the marketplace faster.
I love that. Yeah, I talked all my books that I have. So I think it's just easier and not as time consuming because I talk faster than I type. So
Yeah, no, 100%.
yeah, awesome. So what was the process like getting your book published? Did you use self-pub or did you go out and get a publisher?
So I self-published. I don't know if you remember this company at the time called Scribe, and it was owned by Tucker Max. And then he ended up selling it and became a total disaster. I think they might be coming back now. I'm not
Yeah,
even sure.
I
But
remember we've actually published a
so
few books from people who didn't get their books finished because they were with Scribe and then Scribe just went away. But they came to us to help us finish.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I lost a lot of money on the second book with them. And so that, yeah, so really was the process. So they helped do the book layout, the cover, and really walk me through that entire publishing process. So I didn't have to deal with, ISBN numbers and
Yeah,
Amazon and really getting it going. And then they actually had a process of marketing that
yeah,
book. And so that process was basically give the Kindle book for 99 cents to your list and then have them write a review. And then once you had about 25 reviews, then do an official launch. And that's what we did. And it became a bestseller.
awesome. I love that. You just described that we do every time we do a book launch or a book release with the 99-cent campaign, and it's great. I do love though that your book has stayed relevant. So let's talk about that. Like right now, your book is still number one on Amazon, and I think I was on your paperback. I'm not quite sure if I was on Kindle paperback, but it does say you're still a bestseller right now. And so, how do you market to keep
Right.
your book at the top? Because a lot of people will get their book number one in the first week it's out, and then they never get anyone to buy it again because they forget to tell people they saw the book. Right. So tell us how do you keep marketing besides being on podcasts like this one?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I really don't want the Amazon business. So I have a Facebook book funnel strategy. And so we advertise on
Mhm.
Facebook and essentially we are advertising there and we're having a link to our website so they can get the book for free plus
Okay.
shipping. And that way I own that customer. But what happens is people will see that ad and then they'll just go to Amazon and they'll buy it there. So it's not my favorite customer, but that's really what's going
I
on
do
there.
think though they're paying more if they go to Amazon, right? Because free plus shipping is cheaper than buying
They
it on
are
Amazon.
100%. They're paying more on Amazon, but they're getting it faster. They're getting it, either next day or 2 days. It just makes it easy, right?
But it sounds like getting it from your website is still the best way to do it. And it actually has a lot of really good information on it too, more than what is selling on Amazon. So I think it's better. It's a better system.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So how long do you think it took you to write the book or to get the book like finished and on your website for sale from start to like thinking about it to being on the website?
I think it took about a year. I remember just being absolutely miserable when Scribe was like, you need to lock the manuscript and you can't make a
Yeah.
change after
Yeah.
that. And that was the most miserable feeling ever.
Yeah.
So I think I sat with that for like a week and went back and forth and made little adjustments here, little edits there, and wanted to make sure the tone was right and sounded like me. And finally, I was just sick. And I was like, okay, this is just going to have to be good enough.
Yes. I think that's something that every author struggles with because if you don't, it's good enough, then you're going to keep editing that book forever. So we've had authors that have
Yeah.
books that they've been writing for 7 years and it's because they keep changing it, right? They never publish it because they keep saying, oh, it's not good enough, not good enough. Well, that's a long time. So I'm glad that it only took you a year and not 7 years. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the key is like you have to give yourself that
Yeah.
deadline where it's just got to be good enough.
Right. Yeah. I think that's great. One thing we do for authors, I don't know if this is true with you, but we actually set up their accounts for them so they have access to it. So that if they did have a change, maybe a couple months down the road, they could submit a new version of the book, which is nice.
Oh no, any changes are going to cost me like
Oh yeah.
$500 from Fiverr.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But what would you
Yeah.
tell a new author who is planning on getting their book out? Like what was one of the things that you did that went right that you would tell them they should do for sure?
Well, I think, number one, you got to write a good book and take the time. I think a bad book can really hurt you. And so I think it's really important to write a good book. And again, if you're not a writer, use somebody like Jenny to help you do it because right? I wouldn't mess with it in that sense. Like I wouldn't risk it. Use an expert that knows exactly what a good book looks like, how it's formatted,
Mhm.
what a good cover will look like, and what a good marketing will look like. Because you could have the best book in the world, but if you're not good at marketing, no one's going to find it. No one's going to see it. So having that marketing strategy, I think, is really important as well.
Mhm.
And then having a back end. So I make no money on a book, but I have a back end strategy where we do actually make money in our coaching program
Mhm.
and in our other services. So having a back end, I think, is critical
Yes.
as well. And so a book is really special in the sense that here's this thing that people are actually committing to, and they're great buyers, actually. So uh, I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, one of the our authors is to make sure you have a good beta reader or have three to five people who are going to read your book before you launch it. And that's in the ghostwriting editing stage. It's not after the book's finished, right? But I mean, of course, the book has to be kind of finished to send it to beta readers, but you have to be willing to make changes with their feedback, right? So you can't be like set in your head that you're done and then send it to beta readers and you get all this feedback and you're working with your book coach or you're working with a ghostwriter and they're like, "Oh no, you need to change these things," and you're not like willing to do that because that's where you really want to know what your peers think and what people that are going to read it, your ideal person, because maybe you do need more stories, or maybe it is flat, or maybe there's a little bit of improvement you can work on. I like that you said people need to have a good book and not just throw something out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you've seen enough of them where this is how a reader is going to extract as much value from a book as possible.
Yeah. What would you say surprised you most about getting your book published?
What surprised me the most? I think what surprised me maybe the most was just how difficult it was emotionally to actually stop. That was surprising. because I am an entrepreneur. I do ship, and I didn't think I would become so emotionally attached to the words of it. So I think that was surprising.
Awesome. Well, where can people go to find more about your book and to get your free book?
Yeah, so I have a link that they can go and get the book, just pay shipping, and learn more about me at thelandgeek.com.
Awesome. Love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Mark. We'll put the link up in the show notes. People can go and get it and get the free book. And you can learn more about how you can become dirt rich and be a landowner or a land buyer, sell it, investor. That's the word I was looking for. Be an investor. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Jen.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.